Okay, you can see the screen?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, cool. This is cool. Now I'm getting to see what you're getting to see. Okay.
I do have a question right off the bat, though.
Okay.
Okay, we were talking earlier about filing a complaint with the DOJ.
Mm-hmm.
Is that procedure, or why not just go ahead and file a criminal complaint instead?
Well, it depends on what you're talking about. You may be doing both. You know what I'm saying? You may be filing a criminal complaint and filing a complaint with the DOJ. You may file your criminal complaint with the DOJ. You may file a criminal complaint with the DOJ plus a civil rights complaint to go with it. It just depends on what the situation is, what it is that you're complaining about, and who it is you're complaining about, as to where it's going to go and what it's going to be, which is why I wanted to do this class on complaints, because there's different kinds of complaints. Okay? One of those kinds of complaints is the criminal complaint, which you have to file with the correct law enforcement agency. Now, what if the agency you're complaining about is the one that you're supposed to file it with? Well, in that case, you would want to file it with them. You would want to file it again. Am I supposed to let somebody in? There it is. Okay. All right. There's three, at least, there's probably more, but at least three kinds of complaints. And for whoever just joined us, we're talking tonight about complaints, where you file them, how you can file them, why you should file them, and what's going on with complaints. But, to answer your question, you can file criminal complaints, civil complaints, judicial complaints, civil rights complaints. So there's all different kinds of complaints, and they go to all different kinds of places. So let me show you one of the reasons that I wanted to have this meeting is because a lot of people have been filing complaints, and they haven't got any resolution. And we did have problems before. We still have problems now, but a lot of the problems have gotten a lot better. And there are agencies and people within agencies that are being responsive. There's also a lot of people that have quit, retired, been fired, gone to jail, things like that, so that wherever you complained to before may not be the same agency or the same person today that they were even 6 months or a year ago. But since Trump's presidency started, we did start to slowly get more and more and more response from these government agencies. So just to give everybody a little bit of hope and show you why I keep harping on this and why I think that complaints are important no matter what you've done before, and why I think everybody needs to file them for everything that happens, is because the response you get depends directly upon how many complaints are received. And so I'm going to start with, I'm going to go back on the timeline and bring us up to current date, although there's a few when I was getting ready today that I couldn't find. But I'll show you a couple of things and reasons why I think we need to file these complaints. And I think you'll be very happy about what you see. So let's take a look at this first clip. Uh-oh, what happened? Well, this is discouraging because I'm not going to be able to play this with sound.
Okay, you talked about the various government agencies.
Well,
which agencies are you talking about filing complaints to?
what do you mean?
Well, like I've tried to contact the ACLU and never got a response. And I did read somewhere on the internet that they have acknowledged that gang stalking is happening, but they are refusing to investigate.
That's why you need to do a lot of complaints. This story, and I'm so sorry I couldn't get my computers working right tonight. AG Barr back in 2019 went to Alaska because the Alaskan townspeople, or county people, had complained that they didn't have any good police, they didn't have any good equipment, they didn't even have a jail, nothing was working right, and so they needed help. And enough of them wrote to Bart that he went all the way out there. And it's because he got enough complaints. Here's another one, the DOJ, and this is things that have never happened in our entire history. And look here, Justice Department opened a criminal investigation into the opioid crisis. Now, I've looked at all of these stories, and you can see their website, their YouTube channel is the Justice Department. You can go there and see all these videos. But one interesting thing about it was that they're not just investigating people with a drug problem. They're not just investigating small-time drug rings. They're not even investigating, large drug rings. They're investigating the manufacturers. They're going after big corporate players, and they're not playing around. So that's interesting. Now, look who else they went after. Goldman Sachs. When did you ever think that would happen? Okay? And in this bribery case, they got him to agree to pay $2.9 billion. That's unheard of. Goldman Sachs has gotten away with everything forever. They have gotten away with so much. And now, for the first time, this stuff is starting to be investigated. This is change. This is hope. This is good stuff. This means something has changed since Trump has been in office. Now, let's look at some more of what AG Garland is doing. Investigation into the city of Minneapolis and the Minneapolis Police Department. When has an AG ever announced something like that? Okay? There are things happening. Things are changing. It is happening. So let's don't get or be discouraged, because we do have change happening. We do have things going on. It is making a difference. So, look here. Another one. DOJ announces investigation of Louisville Jefferson County Metro government and the Louisville Metro probably Police Department. Justice Department announces investigation of the city of Phoenix and the Phoenix Police Department. You know, this is all really new attitude. And this is a lot of stuff they're doing that has never happened before. If there's a time to complain, now's the time. Now is the time. Write your complaints. Everybody write complaints. The DOJ. Sounds like we need to contact the Attorney General. That's who this is. That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Sounds like we need to contact the Attorney
Make your
General.
complaints because they're going after them.
That's
And
what
they
I'm
have
saying.
been ever since Trump's been in. So if you filed, let's say you even filed a complaint with the DOJ and you got discouraged because Trump was already in office and you filed with the DOJ and you didn't get a good response. It's okay because now there's different people in there. Even the DOJ has been cleaned out. Okay? There has been housekeeping going on in this government from top to freaking bottom. So I'm telling you, if you weren't responded to before, make complaints now. Now is the time to complain when we have a responsive AG. Okay? Barr was busy with all of his stuff he was busy with that we're just not even going to go into right now. But Barr was working on higher level stuff. Now that's out of the way. Now Garland's in. Now Garland seems to be going after these corrupt courts. Oh, I had a little video. Look, Crystal City corruption raid. Look, here's another one. FBI agents raid Taylor City Hall in public corruption. Asking for public tips. They're asking for help. They've been asking for help since Barr was in there. What is this video? Back February 2019. They were already starting, and they're asking the public for tips. So, look at this one that just happened. Look, August 25th of this year. Just happened a couple weeks ago. They raided Detroit City Hall and council members' home in a corruption probe. Okay, what is that? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8, 7 or 8 I've just showed you of public corruption investigations that the DOJ has opened. That tells me, like you said, Moto, time to complain to the AG. Absolutely. Absolutely. We've never had a DOJ this responsive. Have you ever seen?
Well, my piss poor attempt
Okay,
of
well,
writing a complaint before was
okay. Well, there is help because there are actual
after
forms.
in 2019.
That's IRS, FTC. Who's this? Okay, here's the Department of Justice. Okay, over here it tells you the Civil Rights Division enforces federal laws that protect people from unlawful discrimination. These laws apply in many settings, including work, school, housing, voting, stores and businesses, public spaces, public benefits, government services, and more. Okay, these you can write complaints on corruption, civil rights violations. There's all kinds of things, but look right over here. What does it say? Submit a complaint. Okay, you've got all these links, and all you see, this is justice.gov website. It's the Department of Justice, and then you can look at all of these links. You can report a crime, and They're gonna, send you through the steps to do and who to report that to. According to what kind of crime it is, where it was done, what's going on. You may have to call your local field office. You may have to call a national number. It's just, they give you all the information here. Okay? So you find what is your issue.
I'm not seeing my issue
Well,
on there.
this isn't the only page, hon. There's, all kinds of things. And I think you may have some terrorism. You may have some other crimes, what they're calling other crimes. I mean, you may have some civil rights violations. So they're going to run you through all of these, and then they have the actual forms that you can fill out straight from their website. The same goes with the Federal Trade Commission. They give you all the information online, their address, how to report anything you need to report. It depends on what you're reporting. You can even do the do not call, get people to stop calling you for stuff. And then even the IRS, a lot of the people that bother you can be reported for identity theft if they're using your name and your social to pull some hokey stuff with like court papers. You can actually report them to the IRS. You can also report government agencies that don't pay the IRS. For instance, if let's say, a city charges you with some kind of crime and they're gonna put you in jail and put a bond on you. Well, those bonds, those cities are claiming that they are subdivisions of the state and therefore they don't have to pay any taxes on all this money that they make. And that's not true. Did you know that? No, they are actual corporations, they're companies, and they are required to pay. And so when they put those bonds on you, you can fill out forms with the IRS and tell them, hey, I think that there's a tax obligation owed over here that may not be being reported. They'll go after those courts, and a lot of times your case will end up being quickly dismissed. So, just about every place that you want to complain to is gonna have a form. You just have to get on their website and find it. Whether it's gonna be the DOJ and you're complaining about civil rights or prisoners' rights or anything else, prisoner abuse, police abuse, public corruption, all of that stuff. You can also, in addition to making complaints to the DOJ, you can make complaints to state agencies. A lot of states have a state police force, or they may have, like in Texas, we have what's called Texas Rangers. The Texas Rangers are pretty awesome organization. They can go anywhere in Texas. But interestingly, they're actually a part of the Department of Transportation. The Texas Department of Transportation. They're under the DPS, Department of Public Safety. So, it's interesting where you find them, but the Texas Rangers also investigate public corruption. So it's like people are saying, well, who do I go to if it's my local cops are the ones corrupt, or my local DA, or my city government is involved in this, my town is involved in harassing me or the crimes against me. Who am I going to go to then? You're going to go to the DOJ. That's who you go to. And they've got nifty little forms on their website that are only like a few questions. Basically, and this is true whether you're doing their form or your form, here's what you need to put down. Here's the answer to your question of how you need to write a complaint. It's basically who, where, what, when, and how. Who, where, what, when, how. That's what you've got to tell. And on my forms, when I'm just finishing a criminal complaint right now, and I actually wrote on it who and a question mark, and then I told them who, and then I said did what. Well, here's what they did. Where'd they do it? They did it here. When did they do it? Here's all the dates. Here's when and where and what they did. And that's basically how you write a criminal complaint. If it is a criminal complaint and not just uh, like a civil complaint form or something, if it's an actual criminal complaint you're trying to file, then you can file it with the agency it's supposed to be filed with, but you can also notice and carbon copy anybody you want to. So let's say you do a criminal complaint against one of your local cops, and you file a complaint with his department, you file a complaint with your local DA, and you file a complaint with your sheriff. That doesn't mean you can't also notice or carbon copy the DOJ, your state policing agency, or whoever. You can notice and send that same criminal complaint to any of them and all of them, because any law enforcement officer's hands who you put that into and you make that information known to then has a legal and lawful duty to investigate the crimes that you have reported. They also, as Cornforth so eloquently showed me to put it, vindicate their oath by investigating. And so that's how you get things investigated. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. So you may need to present the criminal complaint to, say, your local DA, because you're complaining about a local cop did something, right? You present that to your local DA and to your sheriff. Well, you can also send it to the state AG, and let him know, hey, you're gonna have a problem if y'all don't start handling this over here. Put it on their radar.
Uh, they're on they are at the top of the list for the complaints. It's the state
Okay, but
Bureau
here's the
of
thing.
Investigation,
They
and I
can't
believe the
be in
FBI, and
every
they're also
local
using
FBI
local law
office.
enforcement.
Yes, they do listen to each other an awful lot, and they depend on each other's um, testimonies when they call to ask them about it. However, did you just see the videos I showed you? Okay? Somebody's getting through somewhere. That's what I'm telling you. So if it's the
Yeah.
state, then you go to the DOJ. Did I lose my meeting? I'm still on and you can hear me? It's doing all kinds of weird stuff on my other screen. Okay, I'm sorry. It's just doing weird stuff on my other screen. So yeah, that's when you go to the DOJ. You can also go to local field offices outside of your immediate area. You know what I mean? No, you don't have to. I'm not saying go as in drive there. I'm saying file a complaint with them. If you're worried, about the FBI where you're at, go to a couple counties over to their field offices. Go to all the counties around you and send your complaint to them against the county you're in. And go to the DOJ because the FBI is under the DOJ.
And that we write out all of our information and send it to them
You
by
can do
mail.
either or. A lot of them you can file online, but sometimes I file stuff online, like with the postmaster. If they mishandle my mail or give me flack or don't do something right, I immediately file a complaint with the Postmaster General because they have forms online. It's a very quick, easy form. What post office you at? What happened? Is there a tracking number? Is there anything else you want to tell us about it? These are pretty easy forms to file. So let's say that you file a complaint with like the FBI, okay, and they don't do nothing. But you gotta file it with a specific person. So you gotta get a person's name. Usually when you call up, they're not gonna give you anybody's name. Nobody will give you their name. They'll talk to you, they won't give you their name. However, you can go online to your field office or the field office in the next county over or the next state over or wherever you want to go. And every one of them, when you look up the field office, it'll tell you who is the special agent in charge of that office. So now you write that person directly. Now, if they don't respond in this question you asked earlier about, what if people don't respond? Well, in the case of like the FBI, for example, if the FBI doesn't respond, that individual that you wrote to, the DOJ has another handy dandy little form that I love, and it's a complaint for a DOJ employee's failure to act. So that means if you complained to a DOJ employee, which means FBI, and they failed to act to investigate your claim, then you can fill out a complaint about them with the DOJ. And then the DOJ should contact them and say, hey, why aren't you following up on this complaint for this play character? What's going on with that? You see what I'm saying? So it's surprising what kind of forms they have and where you can go. And the thing is, most people just have not been doing it. They just don't do it. They assume that everybody's crooked because the people they dealt with were crooked. So everybody's going to be crooked. So I'm just not even going to complain because it's not going to do any good. Well, that's not true. It will do good. And if it didn't do the last time, do it again. Because we are making change. We are getting there. I've never, ever seen the DOJ investigate this many corruption of local officials like is happening right now. So I suggest,
So now
ask
tell
that
me
again.
who the local person is that I also need to file a complaint with, the DA or who?
Is it a criminal complaint or a civil rights complaint or what
Who
is it?
locally do I need to send a complaint to?
Okay, and it can be both. A
Probably,
lot of times there is crossover. Okay,
damn, I don't know,
um,
both.
so if it's a crossover, you're gonna send your civil rights complaint to the DOJ. They have a form online that's a civil rights complaint form. And it's basically who are you, who did it, what they do, where they do it, when they do it, and how they do it. Okay? You're going to send that to the DOJ. The criminal stuff I would send to the district attorney for your county, the county sheriff. I would also copy the state attorney general and the what? Yeah, I mean, send a copy
Copy.
of
What
the
do you
criminal
mean?
complaint to your attorney general.
Copy the attorney
You
general.
can
What do you
send a
mean?
criminal complaint to multiple places. That's what I was telling you. That's why I'm sending out 20 packets right now. Because when people file criminal complaints, they have to go to a lot of different places to copy other places.
Okay.
Now, why would you want to do that? Because what if the people that you're complaining to, your sheriff and your DA, are being paid off by the same people? Huh? That's why you send it outside. You carbon copy. It's called CC. You carbon copy all these different other agencies that may have anything to do with it. Okay, like I'm working with somebody right now that's filing some criminal complaints, and they're it means the same complaint that you turn into your DA, you send an exact
What do you
copy of
mean by
that whole
carbon copy?
complaint and all your evidence to your state attorney general, the U.S. Attorney General, which is the DOJ, and to maybe other agencies. It depends on what you're complaining about. If your complaint involves something that they've done that involves the IRS, then you copy the IRS. You see? If they're doing something with bonds, every time they throw somebody in jail, they pull fraud with
Okay.
the bonds. If they're pulling fraud with the bonds, you can complain to the Securities and Exchange Commission because they're over bonds. So you can send that criminal complaint to any and everybody that you want to. And the more people you send it to, the more likely you are to end up getting somebody to respond to it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So even though, it should be your local DA and your sheriff who handle that, if
Yeah.
they, in my case and the cases I'm working on, we just send it to everybody. You know, there's no reason to limit, because if your guys don't respond, you want to make sure
Mm.
there's going to be other people that are aware and that they respond. So, for those of you just joining us tonight, could you mute yourselves? We're hearing background noise. And also, we have been talking about complaints tonight. We're talking about criminal complaints, civil complaints, judicial complaints, civil rights complaints. We're talking about complaints that you file with the court and complaints that you just file a form with an agency. So there's all kinds of complaints, but what we've been seeing lately is that the DOJ we have now is very responsive to these complaints. I just showed, and this video will go up on our LayLaw YouTube channel, but I did just show that the DOJ is currently investigating several cities for corruption. The DOJ is now more responsive than I have ever seen them be against public corruption. So if you're having a problem with your local police department or people in your local area or corruption in your courts or in your city or county government, now's the time to complain.